So Coco Bart is probably accurate. Welcome to the morning edition of Soccer Over There. Microphone, you're muted.
You're muted. We were all trying
There
to
you
be responsible.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can. Yes, you're good.
I completely missed the fact that Juventus did a Juventus thing again this morning. I'm sorry that I was not caught up on that.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, at this point, it's the SMU of like, hey, don't do that. No, but seriously, don't do that. But Nick, the one thing you can take some solace in is, as much as Juve may be down for a few years, just like Hugh Freeze was down for a few years, you're going to come back up.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
Wow. I mean, oh man.
More damn Tiger Eagle, right?
Oh my God. As someone who is married into that Auburn family, the roof blew off of both the office and the casa when that announcement was made.
Hugh's only problem was he was doing the same thing that the big boys were doing, and they didn't like that.
Oh no. We know he was NIL before NIL was cool.
Yeah.
That the boss has no issue with.
Right.
Coco, who's more morally bankrupt? They're NCAA college football programs. They're all morally bankrupt. Don't try to pretend like there's one that's more like, come on. But Hugh Freeze was coaching at Liberty. Let's not talk about morals at this point.
And the irony of that and all of the other elements that were attached to that. Yeah, the boss is less than pleased, and she ain't the only one. And when you have a press conference, welcome to the OSG College Football X, by the way. Yeah, Michael, keep AU out of a civil conversation.
Let me tell a very brief story here that a very respectable reporter told me. This is back when I worked at NCAA.com.
Right.
So late nights, we're covering all kinds of different sports, and and I want to say this was around the tournament period. And the conversation came up about certain players who had SATs taken for them, shown up at a school and had bags of money handed to them, and we were all making fun of it. And he said, and we were kind of asking the question of how long has this been going on? And this was from an intern who'd put this forward. And this reporter said, I met with a coach one time, had a good relationship with him, and he said, I'm going to tell you the craziest story I've ever heard in my life. And he said, we met with this player, and the player was, top tier. Every school in the nation wanted him. And we said, look, we think we have a very good package for you. And it's laid out like this. You like fast. You currently live in a house. It's got holes in the roof. Your mom and dad works for a construction company. Dad's gonna be a foreman of a construction company. You're gonna have a house paid for, no problem. There's gonna be 2 Jeep Wranglers in the driveway. All they got to do is drive them. Tires, gas, that's covered, no problem. You like fast cars, you're going to have a Trans Am, tires, gas, paid for. You're going to have an off-campus apartment, paid for. You pay to rent. There's going to be a white envelope with cash under your mat when you get home. You're going to show up at the airport. You're going to have a check-in. You're going to sign whatever they want you to sign, autograph, whatever, and then you're out the door. Your parents are going to have 2 flight passes on Continental. Anywhere they want to go, they can show up for game day. They can go to Tahiti. Who cares? Anywhere Continental flies, it's there. You're going to have a $1 million Lloyd's of London policy that when you graduate, matures, it's yours. Have fun. And we think we've laid out a pretty good package here for you. What do you think? And in the slow Texas draw, this kid goes, Coach, you're not even close. The player was Eric Dickerson. The school that had showed up the day before was SMU. So, and if that tells you how long this has been going on and at what level this has been going on, but if that gives you any idea about the bankruptcy.
They called it the Trans A&M.
Hey,
yeah.
And that's one of the best stories too. Is that
no doubt. So
about the Trans Am. Don't sign anything.
Are you gonna Dale Hansen? Are you gonna report about yourself about the bribe? No. Bart, I'm surprised that you actually still have a voice after yesterday.
I got called out on a work meeting this morning. Granted, they made me get onto a conference call at 9 a.m., so that's also their fault. But they said, you sound like you've been out of the bar all night. And I was like, well, I was at a bar for 10 hours yesterday yelling at 400 people, so that might be it.
Well, and this is the first time that we have had you on since the England match and the 80 gazillion people that were there.
Yeah.
Once again, I've got to give a shout out to everybody at Wild Heaven. I've got to give a shout out to you guys at American Outlaws for putting on a hell of a show. And for those that missed it, you missed out on a great time. I don't think a lot of folks understand what happened, all the logistics paired up with Scott Flood and the Flood Project and everything there with AO, all that to make that happen. Have you had a chance to have a post-mortem about all of that stuff and have it sink in yet for everything?
To be honest, no, because Scott was immediately like, okay, when's the next event? And I was like, Scott, listen, man, let me breathe. But honestly, no, because as I've jokingly said, I'll breathe Wednesday, this entire turnaround, but now I can't breathe until Sunday because, the U.S. is continuing to play. We've still got a party. We had a party yesterday. We've got a party Saturday at Fido as well. So it just keeps on trucking, man. It just keeps on trucking. But it was not lost on me how massive of an event we had last Friday. And again, I'm just thankful that everyone who showed up and had a great time, was patient with, the Wild Heaven staff, was gracious to us, was in it for the good spirit of the game, not to, be jerks about things. Not that England needs to have, earmuffs or whatever on their fans, but it was just a very good soccer environment, and I'm very thankful to everyone who created that, because it was fantastic. I mean, we've got some pictures coming in from Atlanta United and their crew who were on the ground there, and they're cool. It punctuates how big of an event it was.
Nick, your USMNT question for Soccer for US Pods at Bartimus Prime 19. Now it's your turn to unmute, sir.
No, I got to be. Look, this is going to happen because
you're at halftime. It doesn't matter right now.
Yeah. So my question really is going to be, as we discussed earlier before you came on, who, if you're not going to have a striker who's going to be the person to put the ball, the focal point of the attack, putting the ball in the back of the net, who becomes that player who is the person that you can look at 80th minute, tied game, somebody's got to put the ball in the back of the net. Who are you looking at?
Well, I don't know if there's one person, but I do think that I would trust Christian Pulisic the most, because he has repeatedly been able to score big goals for the United States. But I mean, I think we've got guys like Tim Weah who can do it. We've got guys like Serginho Dest who have shown the ability to beat a man on a dribble and put the ball in the back of the net. Gio Reyna's in the chat. I don't know if he's alive at all, to be quite honest. But hey, Gio would be a guy that I would say could do it. I don't think it has to be one person. I think the goal is that you have a bunch of people who have the ability within the system to find spaces to be creative. That's the goal, right? Have your good players get into positions for them to be good. Now, that said, I would love to have a striker that I would feel confident is going to score. I don't think that's a Berhalter issue. I think that's the U.S. men's national team just doesn't have one of those right now. Mm-hmm. I have to say, though, I thought Josh Sargent played phenomenally yesterday. And the fact that he was more involved with the build-up was a positive. And the fact that he was, really combining well with our midfielders and our wingers was really good to see, because we haven't seen that from the strikers yet this tournament. And I think that cemented his spot as the starter. He just, I would like to see a striker score a goal. Granted, we've only scored 2 this entire tournament. So
once again, our friends at Soccer America, and Bart has ripped them from pillar to post with some of their rankings that they have come out with in each of the tournaments. So I always like to use this as like the the lightning rod for Bart when he comes on after a match.
I just feel like they forget that this is a World Cup and things are hard.
Things are hard. Yes.
Anyway, continue.
No, it's just Matt Turner gets a 6. Jedi Robinson got a 5.
On a scale of what? Well, a 1 to what?
1 to 10. Yeah, 1 to 10. So Jedi got a 5.
That's a choice.
Okay.
Destin Ring got 8s and CCV got a 7. So Nick, you have umbrage with that 5 for Jedi Robinson.
Yeah, look, I feel like a lot of these people who do these ranking systems expect everybody. It's like a scale of 1 to Pele, who, by the way, is in the hospital in Brazil and not doing well. So our prayers go up to him. But I feel like we have this kind of really absurd scale of like it's 1 to 10 and 10 and you're going to be it's this whole thing of if you don't perform at this exceedingly excellent level, then you're a 5.
Excellent.
You're mid.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Robinson did a tremendous amount of work yesterday. That had a yeoman's effort. Did every pass land crisply and cleanly? No, but he's a big reason why you walked out of that game a winner. And for some group to sit there and hippo poop all over the place because somebody didn't play like Maradona, I think it sort of feeds into the hot take media culture that we're sort of stuck with during the World Cup.
All right. So
look, defensively he had 9 recoveries. Yes, he was dribbled past 2 times, but okay. 2 of 4 on ground duels, 2 of 2 of aerial duels, 3 clearances, and then from a passing standpoint, 2 for 2 on successful dribbles. Total passing numbers, 76% passing, which was not bad against, again, a team like are they aware that the other team is playing soccer and trying to make them not be able to do things well? Like, that's what I don't get. Right. Like, it's not like he passed 75% against a cone. He passed 75% against a team that their entire game plan was to kick us and then kick the ball away. It wasn't like this was free-flowing open soccer for most of the game, and especially in that first half, Iran made it difficult. So, like, I don't know. I'm looking at FOTMOD. He has a 7.7 rating. I think that might be a little high, but I also think that all the guys deserve great ratings because we won a damn game in the World Cup, something we've only done 6 times since I was born.
Yep.
So,
Jedi Robinson, 2 for 4 on ground duels, won both his aerials, 76% passing, 28 to 37 on 70 touches, 3 for 5 on long balls. And I think that if you dial it back to a couple of elements that led into the goal itself, the long ball from Jedi to Weah, to Dest, across from Jedi to Serginho Dest. Dest settles, brings it in as Pulisic is prepping for his pelvic contusion. But I mean, the ball that Jedi sends from one end to the other on the 45, I'm like, are you kidding me with that?
Again, I dislike the Soccer America ratings. I think
and that's why I bring them up, because it's a point to sit there and gauge.
If you would have said he gets a 6, I go, okay, maybe, sure. But like, I think also, by the way, I will again point out that Anthony Robinson is a defender. And Nick, I don't know, maybe you can respond to this. How many goals did we concede yesterday?
Carry the 2, carry them 0, right?
0. Yeah. Only gave up 4 shots, by the way, which to a team that, to be fair, had scored 4 goals coming into this game.
Yep. Yeah,
we live in a world now where I think that it's the ultimate teamification, that invents a word here, of general reporting now, where we have people who play Football Manager or they play FIFA.
Which means they're eminently qualified to give you a satisfactory rating on what they think happened.
Yeah, exactly. And so instead of looking at things and saying, hey, look, this is a defender who is, this is a back line that's essentially helping to keep a clean sheet here. They're doing a good job of doing that. Nope, it's mid. And so, we see these kids are like, well, what's this guy's speed rating on FIFA?
Right.
80. Oh, he's trash. It's dog water. It's like, wait, what? And so, look, you got to get your clicks. You got to get your engagement. I get it. I understand. But to say that this backline did anything from, other than a very, very good job, I think is a bit absurd. So.
Yes, so blame Mike Moitala for the rankings. Midfield, McKennie got a 7, Adams got an 8, Yunus Musa got a 6. So, kind of what we expected. Musa,
I would give Musa a 7 personally. I think that he was very instrumental in keeping the ball for a lot of us and helped, especially on that right side where we attacked a lot, both keep possession but also start attacks. Because I think that was the thing that stood out to me yesterday as a whole, was it wasn't like we were just horseshoe of death passing. There was trying to be incisive. There was a lot of combinations on the wings to try to get those. So yeah, it did end up a little bit going like this, but that's again because Iran was playing that way. But there wasn't just it wasn't like we were just like, oh, we'll kick the ball, it's fine. We were trying to find pockets in those passing lanes, and I think Musa was a big part of that. So I think 6 is a little low for him personally.
Weah and Sargent got 6s. Christian Pulisic got a 7. Subs got 4s or incomplete. So
Christian Pulisic sacrificed the lineage of his future family, and you give the man. This is what no, give him a 10. Give him a 10. He scored the damn game winner.
Yeah, the numbers are stupid. The numbers are stupid. I'm sorry. I think the number rating system is so stupid. It's because and then somebody backs it up by saying, well, XG this and XG that, and look, I'm sorry. Did you win? Yeah, we won. Okay. Who are some players that we look at and say maybe they could be better? Shaq Moore. I think Shaq Moore needs to be better. And I think that's
I would argue Shaq Moore probably doesn't need to be in the games anymore, to be quite honest. I don't think he's earned it. But
and I think that's a very fair conversation to have. But to sit there and be like, well, Pulisic could have done more. I mean, the guy got like a ballinectomy at the to put the team ahead. What do you want him to do? I mean, literally, put the ball, wink, wink, on the line and managed to get it over. So I don't know what these reporters. I don't know what they want.
They want to fill up space and get clicks, Nick.
That's great. That's awesome. But you have to understand the role you play in the ecosystem too. You have to understand that it is a legitimate ecosystem, and that you are a key component to this ecosystem being successful. And one way of being successful is not just Team America, World Police. No, it's actually trying to make sure that you're reporting things accurately and within context. And we live in this engagement world where it's not even, you have people say, I don't do clicks, no, but you do engagement, you do sell subscriptions. And so I get it, I guess, but the whole idea is, did you win? Did you get through? Yes, you did. Then there's no need to do an autopsy. There's no need to do an autopsy because the patient is still alive.
That's where I'm at this morning, Nick. And I saw this like almost immediately after game. And we can have a conversation about. I don't think Shaq Moore has proved to be World Cup quality this tournament. He's been a problem. But at the end of the day, you know how many goals we've conceded with Shaq Moore on the field? 0. But there are a lot of people being like criticizing Berhalter for being too defensive in the second half or all these things. I'm like, we won a match in the World Cup. Do you know how many teams would love to say that? This tournament? Yeah, Nick.
Home country'd like to say that.
Right. This tournament specifically, Qatar went 0 for 3 in a tournament they hosted, which
sorry.
Pour one out for them. Oh wait.
I try not to say the Q word on this show, that particular country. I just refer to them as the host nation.
Yeah. And was it 1998 where the U.S. didn't score at all in the World Cup?
Right. We went 0 for 3, didn't score. We won again. We have won now a total of 6 World Cup matches in my lifetime. And I'm not like young, I've been around for the whole, since 1990, I've been alive. So it's been a lot of just not perfect soccer at the World Cup, because playing perfect soccer at the World Cup is very unlikely.
It's very difficult.
We can criticize. There are times to criticize Berhalter. I think you need to look at him as a whole when the tournament is over, whenever that ends, to say, okay, where do we think his issues were? Because also this match, I thought we had a great first half, personally. I thought that, like I said, it wasn't just let's try to pass the ball and possess it, right? We were trying to score. We were trying to find spaces in between their lines. We were trying to find spaces between their defenders. And that was a team that was really resolute the whole tournament. Their goal was to not give up a whole lot of goals. Obviously, they gave up 6 to England. I think there are a lot of reasons for that. But, they were a team committed to not losing that game, a team committed to not giving up a goal. We got a goal in the first half, which meant that now the second half you can be more defensive, because up until that point, Iran, they still only created 4 total shots the whole game. That's pretty darn good when you look at it in its entirety. And you put Iran into a position to play a game that they didn't want to have to play.
Yep.
By scoring in the first half. I even think we maybe could have, if you want to criticize anyone, I think we probably could have had a second goal in the first half. I think there were opportunities to have scored before that.
No doubt.
I think we had opportunities to score in the second half and we didn't. But again, you got a goal, not early, but you got a goal in the first half. That's the biggest thing that you need to do against a team that's going to be defensive, is to try to score in that first half, because that forces them, even with halftime adjustments, to play a game that they don't want to have to play. And that's what we made Iran do. And at the end of the day, we were resolute defensively. We got the ball away when we needed to. We cleared it. We stifled them at the end. Their biggest chance was them 2-foot slide tackling our goalkeeper and winning a penalty kick on us. That was their biggest chance of the match, was at the very end like that.
Yep.
And look, I will be the first to say again, Greg Berhalter has not done anything in my mind to say let's keep him for the next cycle. That's my general operation with any World Cup or international manager, right? We've talked about this. But also, you can't just sit here and be like, well, he sucks at this, this, and this, when the dude has not lost a match during the World Cup. We've conceded one goal from open play, and that was a very bad momentary lapse of judgment from one player, and before that, a series of players. Like, that's not a Berhalter problem, right? Look, yes, let's criticize the Shaq Moore sub. Let's criticize a little bit going defensive a little too early. However, I think that we had to switch to a little bit more of a defensive posture when we had to take Pulisic out of the game.
Yeah.
That also impacted the subs you're going to make after that, because on the wing, yeah, you could have put on Gio Reyna fine, but I just don't think Greg trusts Gio. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I just don't think Greg trusts Gio right now in that type of game to have played 45 minutes. And I think that's a somewhat okay feeling for him to have. I don't agree or disagree. That's just how it feels. But now you've taken a guy who you normally would have put in the midfield. That probably would have been your McKennie sub, right? But now he's playing on the wing for Pulisic. So now your next sub has to be Kellen Acosta, because, look, the last thing you wanted to put Christian Roldan on the field in a World Cup period, let alone in a game where you have to absolutely close it out. Kellen Acosta is good at that. It's fine. And that just kind of impacted the rest of your subs, right? You clearly weren't planning to have to make a sub at halftime. You did. That probably forced Berhalter to be a little bit more defensive earlier than he would have wanted. The games are not played on paper. They're played in the moment. And unfortunately, things happen that you have to react to. Again, I don't know if Berhalter has the greatest game literacy in the match, but at the end of the day, he has to respond to the situations that are in front of him. And they're not done on paper, or they're not done in a spreadsheet where you create all these formulas and find the perfect solution.
Yeah, there's no pivot table for him to say, okay,
right.
Column 3, row F clearly states that we need to put somebody else in. Look, we've come a long way from Bora Ball, as a country. Right. It's light years ahead of where Samson was and everyone else. So look, it's not going to be perfect. Even World Cup winners have had people question roster decisions. So it's outside of maybe France's run and in Italy's 2006 run, where they didn't concede a goal from open play in like 98% of the tournament. It's very, very seldomly are we treated to an almost perfect performance. And so there's always going to be room to look at things and say, this could be better, that could be better, this could be improved, decision making on subs could be better. Great. Valid. But when you're in that moment and the linchpin of your attack takes a need to the to the future, yes. and as it has to be subbed off, that changes your calculus entirely. And now it's like, okay, well, now the decision goes to, am I trying to recreate what Pulisic does and sub in someone to keep that the attack moving as is,
or do I CONCACAF the daylights out of it and get out of Dodge?
Yes.
Which, by the way, Iran was doing in the first half. Like, so clearly that's the game that they were like, hey, we're going to do this. Give it back to them. Make them frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the most frustrating player on this team? Brendan Aronson.
No.
Anyway.
But, you know, it's there's going to be opportunities here. I think I still think there's time in this tournament for Gio to make an impact. I do. And
agree.
You know, if let's say against the Netherlands, I think Gio is somebody who you could absolutely put in, and he has experience with a lot of these guys and can, you know, have an impact. And that doesn't mean he's completely factored out of the tournament, but
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not. You know, because I think it would certainly be more interesting with the tournament's more interesting with him in it. But you've progressed far beyond what I think a lot of the click warriors out there thought you would be doing. You know, there are a lot of people who said, nope, it's going to be England and Wales getting out of the group. And the U.S. men's national team in Iran will be, you know, scuffing it up for, you know, personal, you know, international diplomacy points. And that's not what happened. And so, you know, I think there's two teams in this tournament so far who have looked like they're world beaters, and that's Spain and England so far. And I don't know if England has necessarily been tested the way, you know, that where I feel like, you know, if they go against somebody that, and not to mention they have a history of being, you know, choke artist. Yeah. And when the time comes, but Spain to me looks like they're absolute world beaters. You know, Brazil looks like they have the ability to take it up another gear or two. You know, outside of that, it's anyone's tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Yeah. It's been, I think we felt this way going into it. I think we all felt it was Brazil's the most likely to win. Everyone else has pretty much just as much a chance, right? Obviously with Neymar being whatever status he is, we're not quite sure, you know.
Cantaloupe ankle.
Yeah, that brings it back down. I mean, but you're to your point, yeah, like again, the US, if you're looking at that, yeah, okay, you tied an England team that was more than happy to take a tie in that match. Which is fine because you got a result too. Again, like you were still able to hold off on a team that outside of your game scored 9 goals. That's pretty good. And to credit Greg, you created a game plan to force them to not create a whole lot of chances and score a whole lot of goals. So I think, again, yes, there are some things you can criticize Greg for. But, you know, just trying to be this contrarian because you can without understanding the bigger picture of the fact that we just advanced to the knockout rounds of a World Cup, meaning we just, in my opinion, this justifies the ranking we have in the FIFA World Rankings, right? Like we were ranked 16th. We are now, in theory, one of the top 16 teams in the world. It justifies that to me.
Yeah.
That's a credit to Greg Berhalter. That's a credit to the players on this team. Do we need to score more goals? Yes. Is that always the Greg Berhalter problem? No. Do you know what? Again, do I think that Shaq Moore is the answer as a sub? No, but I also don't think DeAndre Edlin is. So, you know, is Joe Scally the guy you're putting in there to close out a game? Maybe that's a better option. I don't know, but I will also concede that Joe Scally and Gio Reyna are under the age of 20. So,
well, and you know, one thing to show is that what the U.S. men's national team showed is that if you have the horses to keep up with England, England to me feels like a later career Mike Tyson, where if you got Tyson outside of the 4th round, you could do it. You could land a knockout punch on him. And I feel like this is England where, you know, once you shove Harry Kane into the setup man and not into the danger man, you can absolutely stifle them. And the U.S. could, and I'll argue should, have won that game. But, you know, that's why the tournament is going, you know, that's why the tournament's played. You know, we're going to see the United States take on, you know, the Dutch. And I don't think the Dutch are particularly, I don't think this is the Dutch's tournament. I don't think that they are. I think they can win, but at the same time, I think they're just as likely to walk out with a loss.
Mhm.
So,
I honestly was more scared to play Senegal than I was Netherlands. At least you know the type of
Yep.
game you're going to get with the Netherlands.
Yep.
Yeah.
Senegal has been up and down in this tournament a little bit within games in this tournament. So, I'm
styles
with you. I
make
think,
fights. Styles make fights. Where somebody who's a slow plodding jabber can beat the knockout artist, the flashy knockout artist, because it's death by 1,000 cuts. And at the same time, if you have two people, two fighters who are both knockout artists go at it, it's gonna be really exciting for about the first 3 rounds. But somebody's gonna end up on the floor, and it may be a shock. And I think Senegal and the U.S. men's national team would have had that because they have the horses to keep up.
Yeah.
And in a freak moment, put the ball in the back of the net. So
Yeah.
I think this is a dream matchup if you are the U.S. men's national team.
And also, and not to like hedge this too much, it is. And this will be my parting thoughts.
Okay.
This team has not overperformed. They've performed to, I think, justifiable
They've
expectations.
performed.
But I think the performances have all been good.
Mhm.
So that's we got a yellow card here for
We have
Australia.
apparently we have a Tunisia golazo.
Oh,
I'm
good
not
for
going to call it a
Tunisia.
golazo. I'm going to say it was a really good goal. I'm not going to say it's a golazo, but France is
They're down.
France.
France is being France.
Milos Degenek got the yellow for Australia in a game that they kind of need to not lose.
And here's the thing about France is that without Mikey Magnon in goal,
Mm-hmm.
that's